Novak Djokovic proved to us that 6 out of 10 times, if he is mentally emboldened and inspired, he will crush and destroy any player on tour, including Rafael Nadal. Many of you have had the misconception that Rafael Nadal went to the laboratory, found out ways to beat Novak Djokovic, and came out a new player, a new rejuvenated player, but that's not the case. The case is he beat a mentally exhausted Novak Djokovic in the times that he beat them. The past, I believe, 3 times. But he's no different. He's rejuvenated, yes. You know, his energy level is up, yes. But he's no different than the player that was getting his ass whooped and kicked all over the court and made to look, you know, like not the great player that he is, but made to look like something of a cut from a lesser cloth. And Novak Djokovic, when he's inspired, when he's emboldened, no player can beat him. When I was watching the U.S. Open, he didn't even commit to his down-the-line backhand. And that's his, like, signature shot. I looked at that, and I was like, my goodness, what's going on with Nole? And I was thinking to myself, even if he's physically exhausted, he can still beat Rafael Nadal, even when Nadal is not physically exhausted. When Nadal is at his 100%, he can lose to a non-physically 100% Novak Djokovic. You know, when he also plays Nole, and Nole's 100% in his mind, and he's in that zone, 100% Rafa Nadal, physically and mentally, cannot beat a physically exhausted Novak Djokovic, but a mentally inspired and emboldened Novak Djokovic, the one who's willing to sacrifice himself and his soul and give all his being, his soul on the court, to the very last pint of spiritual energy and spiritual blood. Okay? That Novak Djokovic cannot be beat by any form of a Rafael Nadal. The Rafael Nadal we saw at the U.S. Open was basically a Rafael Nadal that we've seen so many times. But this Rafael Nadal was playing a mentally exhausted and fatigued Novak Djokovic. That's the difference. It had nothing to do with Nadal's game and in any improvements. It just had to do with the Novak Djokovic of old was and had been out of the picture for a while. You know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely here to say, if the excuse can be made for Rafael Nadal that when his knees are better, he's the god of tennis, he can dominate and crush everybody else, if that can be said for him when he's healthy, you know, the when he's healthy excuse or argument, well, then I'm going to say, when Novak Djokovic is mentally inspired and emboldened, no player can beat him, including Rafael Nadal. And any win that he does come up with is just sheer, you know, pulling deep. I mean, he did that for 1 set during the U.S. Open, and, you know, that was just because he didn't want to go out in straight sets. But he mentally was not there. And a mentally inspired and emboldened Novak Djokovic with that Serbian bloodlust is always going to beat a Rafael Nadal 6 out of 10 times. Sometimes I think that this is a more incredible rivalry than Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal, because the Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal rivalry was kind of reminiscent of the Andy Roddick and Roger Federer rivalry at sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Because Roger Federer, he's just not a better player than Rafael Nadal. But with this rivalry, we're actually seeing, you know, like a real fight in tennis. And Novak Djokovic has just said with this win in Beijing that I'm going to chase you to the ends of the earth. You know what I'm saying? And I'm also welcoming you to your #1 spot. You know what I'm saying? And this is how I'm welcoming you, by kicking your ass in the tournament. So I definitely foresee Nole winning 2 slams in 2014. I definitely see him winning the Australian Open, and I definitely see him conquering Nadal. I think the misconception has been made by even experts that he's come back and he's this different player, but he's not. They say that he is a player that has, you know, went to the laboratory, had different shots in his arsenal, and, you know, he's not. At the U.S. Open, he did do a lot of slices, I noticed, and I think that gave Nole some problems. But I think all in all, if his knees are good and he's healthy, he's still not going to beat a physically exhausted, but mentally and a mentally emboldened, inspired Novak Djokovic. It's just not going to happen. Djokovic is a better player, and he owns Rafael Nadal. So anyway, yeah, I mean, let's look out and see what's going to happen in the future, and we're going to see what's up. I'm about to go play me some tennis, actually, enjoy this beautiful weather out here, in California. Yeah, man, Novak Djokovic, the God Slayer, has returned. That's why when all of you were praising Rafael Nadal, I didn't make a video. I just sat back in the cut and I was like, yeah, okay, I know what's going on. Nole had every reason to be distracted from tennis, from being a celebrity, to going to banquets, charities, promoting his book. He had everything that would go on to affect his concentration. Everything that could affect his concentration and take it off of tennis was going on. So Rafael Nadal was not facing that Djokovic, who was the warrior and emboldened and the God Slayer who relishes with a smile, win or lose, pressure situation or not. So yeah, man, that's it, man. I'm out. I think Rafael Nadal is definitely going to be getting his ass whooped by Novak Djokovic in these upcoming years. All right, man.